Is the Mediterranean diet really the best diet? Is it the end-all, be-all of all diets? I'm going to answer that question for you. But first, let's cook some lamb with some veggies and eggplant. Come cook with me. I'm gonna marinate some lamb in fresh herbs with like the ends of some chili oil. I put some water in there. And then I'm gonna cook some eggplant, fennel, and some lentils and a little tomato that I have with garlic, and we'll see. As I get to cooking, I want to talk to you all about the Mediterranean diet. The research says that the Mediterranean diet is among the best diet patterns for people in general. It's great for people who have cardiovascular disease. It is great for people who are thinking about how to include more plants in their pattern of eating. Yes, absolutely. I agree. However, here is the challenge. When we're saying the best, number one, it needs to be individualized. There is no one size that fits all, and anything that is good for one person, we might need to tweak it to make it work for someone else. Because for most people, when they think about the Mediterranean diet, they're actually thinking about Italy, France, maybe Spain, maybe. They're not realizing that there are 22 nations across the Mediterranean that have incredible patterns of eating. However, we rarely talk about those. For example, North Africa, the places in the Middle East, those don't come up in conversation. So this is what I really want us to think about as we're saying, okay, this is the end all be all, because the truth is, it's not the end all be all. It is a part of the Mediterranean, and there are 22 other nations that have excellent whole food-based patterns of eating. All right, I'm gonna blend up my fresh herb mix. All right, so I'm actually gonna let this marinade do its job for me and let this love up the lamb. I get to making the eggplant, fennel, and the lentils. So when we think about the Mediterranean diet, and what the research really loves is the beans, the nuts, the seeds, the lean proteins, the seafood, the fermented dairy. And then there's also this aspect of communal eating, right? Listen, I love this country. I love that we are a diverse place. I do not love that many people have to have 1, 2, 3 jobs to make ends meet. And why do I bring that up? Because when we're talking about that Mediterranean pattern of eating, I have to, absolutely have to take the community component into consideration. I have to take access to these gorgeous foods into consideration. I have to think about the fact that for many people, we absolutely don't have the luxury to be in our kitchens the way that our metabolic health needs us to be. We have to have these multiple jobs. And so when we say, go ahead, start that Mediterranean pattern of eating, it's going to be good for you. I actually say, what we need to do is think about modifying it. How do we think about making this something that's applicable to people who live here? So, my recommendation, oh my goodness, this fennel is amazing. It's like licorice and celery all together. It is so crunchy and so crispy. So my recommendation is, how do we think about the things that we have access to? How do we think about getting more of those foods onto our plate and into our bodies? I always talk about canned produce. I talk about frozen produce, right? So canned beans, incredible, absolutely incredible. Cuts down on so much time in the kitchen. Frozen vegetables, cuts down on so much time in the kitchen. You just really what I try to encourage with my patients is spending that time as wisely as possible. By the way that I'm chopping it's kind of madness. The knife skills are all over the place. It's a little bit chaotic. It's a chaotic time. It's a chaotic moment, right? So maybe it's getting expressed in how I'm chopping. In any case, what I feel like we need to do is think about how, for those of us living in this country, we can dedicate more time and space to sitting down and eating. If we do have access and we do have the possibility to engage in cooking regularly, I think that it is quite important that we do. I also feel like, okay, let me go back. So I put the garlic in here and I'm just letting the aroma come out. And then I added the fennel to saute, and I really do want it to cook down. Now I am a little bit short on time, so I'm gonna use a little bit of bouillon, and I am always talking about this. I'm aware many of us are salt sensitive, so tread lightly, but I'm using it for flavor. And this is a nice bouillon that I really enjoy using. Great ingredient profile, no hydrogenated oils. I'm gonna add some tomatoes, and these are just tomatoes that I have left over from grocery shopping. They're all sorts of different sizes. You can see I'm not trying to be precious about it. My idea is, how do I get the tomatoes in here? Because I want the flavor from them, as seen in the Mediterranean pattern of eating, but also seen in North African cuisine, also seen in Afro-Caribbean cuisine. So there are many places in the world that eat this way, and there are colors and there are incredible flavors in this dish. And I'm not putting down the places that we usually think of as being superior when we're talking about patterns of eating that are supportive of metabolic health, but I am saying that there are ways to travel the globe and eat foods from different regions, expose yourself to different flavors, and still have an abundance of fruits, vegetables, ancient grains, things in their whole and minimally processed form that actually taste good and invite you to go to the table, and then maybe you're like, hey, actually I want to go back again. I am going to wipe my board off because I actually would like to chop my eggplant so that I don't have to add any more salt. That'll also help extract some of the water from the eggplant, the liquid that's in there, so that I don't have too much of like a soupy goo. I did bring some salt, some of this pansola, back from Finland because I found that being a salt sensitive person, I was better able to tolerate this because it's also got some magnesium in here, and that's how it's a mineral salt. That's how they cut down on the sodium component, which I like quite a bit. So I do want people to know that there's a way in nutrition and wellness that we create a hierarchy around what's good. And I encourage you to actually say, hey, I'm gonna check that out. So let's say you live in the southwestern part of the United States. Well, the flavors in that region are completely different. Or what if you live in the center of the US? What are we working with? So maybe we're now talking about how do we incorporate different types of corn. Don't fear the corn. I know everyone's trying to tell you to worry about the corn, but I'm saying don't fear the corn. This is gorgeous, I have to say. The red from the tomato and the fennel, oh my goodness, this looks amazing. And then I'm gonna be bold and put the lentils in. And while this is cooking, I will actually swap and I will start to do my lamb. In Trinidad, we love peas and rice. We also love callaloo, curry chickpea. Ooh, this pot is gonna be nice and hot. You're gonna hear the sear. This looks incredible. So then I'm like, okay, I want to have more callaloo. Okay, I want to have more peas and rice. Okay, I'm gonna have baked chicken, or I'm gonna have baked fish. And then suddenly we have a pattern of eating that is giving me the macronutrients, the protein, fats, and carbs that actually help to balance my body. And then it's also giving me the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that feed my cells. And I've made it culturally relevant. So I believe that you can do that as well. So I'm adding the lentils now. So if you are somebody who needs to leave your house, like most people have to these days, you can use a crock pot or an Instant Pot to do this work for you while you leave, so that you don't have to watch your stove. That's gonna help cut down on time. All right, I'm gonna put this into the oven to finish it, and then I'm gonna let the lentils and the veg do their work, and then we get to taste. So I'm gonna get my ideas for next episodes from your comments below. So be sure to leave me a comment. And if you want more recipes like this, and there are topics that you want me to cover, you gotta let me know. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more.